You're now experiencing the Gretna Bill Show.
Hey, I'm Matt Acker. Welcome to the Gretna Bill Show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, yeah, we've been having a great time at unPAved. We got to interview a lot of people. We just came off the interview with Ted King, and we interviewed before Matt Carabao?
Last year's winner.
Last year's winner. So, could you give us a little rundown of your resume and how you got to this point, and about your career and so forth, and where you're at right now with unPAved?
Yeah, sure. So I'm with Salsa Cycles, and I'm primarily a ultra endurance athlete. So like DKXL, a lot of mountain biking, like NUE mountain bike races. Anything that's kind of long and difficult and out there is what I'm into. And like a month ago, just Salsa shot me a note and said, hey, we're going to be at this event. Do you have any interest in coming down? And it's been on my radar for a few reasons as a racer, but I also promote events too. And I own a part owner of a couple events, including a gravel race and mountain bike. So I like to kind of get out there and check out other events, see what they got going on, and keep things fresh. That's
great to hear. We promote events too. We have a tour to Gretna, and we've done some mountain bike racing. And that's working with DP and Mike Kuhn a lot in that. It's been tough sometimes. You feel like the Rodney Dangerfield when you want to put a cycling event on sometimes, as opposed to other events which the community doesn't seem to embrace.
Yeah.
But yet it's just as viable and just as lucrative. And so that's what's nice about unPAved, when you see all this come together in this fashion. So what are the other races that you're working on or that you basically promote?
So the ones I promote, the biggest one I work on is called Barry-Roubaix. It's up in Michigan. It's actually the world's largest gravel race. Last year we had 3,700 racers.
Wow.
So even though it's like huge by volume, it seems kind of like our reach is really just more within the Midwest. And we've been trying to change that a little bit, but honestly we have so many people, it hasn't been like...
How long have you been doing that race?
I've been co-director officially for the past year or so, and it's been a race close to my home of Grand Rapids, Michigan, that's been going on for 12 years now. And the original creator of the event, the Plights, Rick and his wife, are retiring. And so they kind of reached out to me and my wife, Jenny, and it just was a good fit because we were kind of on a sabbatical in our more serious careers, and we're like, sweet, let's do some bike stuff. And so now it's all bikes all the time.
So clearly the momentum is shifting to gravel, for a lot of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to hear that it's just as popular in the Midwest.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, there's obviously tons of cultural reasons why it's so popular, but in particular your event, it attracts what kind of riders, and mountain bikers and road riders seem to come together in this gravel event, and racers and non-racers, and that's what I like about it the most. So is that basically kind of the experience that you're having up there promoting gravel?
Yeah, we see at our event, because our shortest distance is 22 miles, so it's fairly beginner friendly, although it does have a lot of climbing. So we see a lot of people just kind of getting into cycling and getting into, hey, I want to check an event out. It's the biggest one in the area or the region, along with the other kind of sister event that's put on by other people. It's called Iceman mountain bike race, which has been on forever, and we're kind of like the other bookend. We're the spring event, they're the fall, and so we see a lot of people, from like pros that come travel, they go after the prize purse, to people that it's like their first event, and they're just like, I want to check this out, I got a hybrid, let's get after it. So
is this your first unPAved?
This is, yeah.
So how do you expect to fare with the other competition? I know you've had a brief look at them.
Yeah, I'm familiar with all those folks. Michael Sensenbaugh, Jesse Stauffer. I have not met last year's winner, at least I don't think I have.
Matt?
And then Ted raced kind of, I wouldn't say against him per se, but somewhere in the vicinity of him. Most recently in Iceland at the Rift. We came out for that, we were out there. So looking forward to having a good day. I like climbing, I like getting sporty on the descent, so we'll just have fun with it and see what happens.
Very cool, man. Tell us a little bit about your ride tomorrow, your rig.
So I probably should have brought it, but I'll be on the Salsa Warbird. I have the DI2 model. I'll be running a 2x setup just for the range and to kind of cover all that climbing. I'm running a 38C 700 tire by Terravale called the Rutland. It's a fairly knobby tire, some good cornering. Figure on that loose gravel, I want to have some good control. And
what's your PSI going to look like tomorrow?
I was testing out today, and I found the 38s with 38 PSI felt pretty good. We ripped a kind of a sporty descent, didn't get any rim strikes, but it felt pretty comfy. So that's what I'm leaning towards right now. And that's where I'm going to start. So we'll see what happens.
Cool, man. Todd, jump in here. What do you got?
I don't have a whole lot to say. I think we covered it. I think it's always interesting to hear what people are riding because there's a great debate, which we've talked about on the podcast before. Is are you going to run a 1x, a 2x, and can you get enough range to do that? And I think that depends on where you're at, right? Like if you're in Colorado versus here, you know, you're going to be running something different, and it's always good to hear different people's perspectives on what they're running because I think we all have a lot of questions on that.
Yeah, most of the groupos, until you get into a 12-speed 1x, but most of the groupos are at least 1x1, 1-to-1.
Yeah.
I mean, and theoretically, everybody would say like, except in the mountain bike world, you can pretty much walk faster than 1x1. So at some point, but you know, still people are wanting. You know, if you look at the GRX groupo, people want a little bit more than 1-to-1.
Yeah,
and I can, you know, for an amateur man, after a long time. In the saddle on a long climb, I like to relax a little bit and get something to eat, something to drink. And 1-to-1 isn't quite relaxing mode. I know that sounds kind of wimpy, but
no, I can agree with that. I mean, last year I ran a 1x setup and I ran a 42 tooth with an 1132 cassette, and I used that at TKXL, and by like mile 250 I was regretting that decision. Especially I lost a few gears due to mud, so like the 28 was all I could get. And you know, there was some alone time out there where I was definitely like, shame on you.
Yep.
And frankly I was just hesitant from like years gone by of running 2xs and chain drops and blah 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 to go back to 2x. And then with the latest Shimano Di2 where you get the clutch derailleur, and that front derailleur is just pretty burly on that setup. And then I've also been playing around on the GRX, which is a super sweet group set. I feel like 2x has now come to the point where it's like you can rip stuff really hard, chain stays on, you know, we're good to go.
You still got the clutch going on, still pulling on it nice, and it still doesn't hamper the drop down from the big ring to the small ring up front, right? It's not that much tension.
No.
Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Hey, my pleasure.
And good luck tomorrow, man.
Okay, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Nice chatting with you.